Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Robert from D'Oliva's Oil and Vinegar on Main Street in St. Charles, Missouri. And today in my kitchen, we're going to make a cilantro lime marinated chicken that we're going to use in some tacos. And the marinade is super easy. I've got a few things done already, and I'm going to finish it up for you so you can see how it's all done. I'm going to start out with 1/4 cup of freshly squeezed lime. You can buy lime juice in a bottle, but you can also squeeze a lime, and that just makes things just that much fresher. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a lime in half, and I've got this handy dandy juicer that's been working very well for me for a very long time, and I'm going to squeeze out the lime juice and pour that into the blender. So here we are. We got our 1/4 cup of lime juice. It's already in there. I actually squeezed one whole lime already, and then I just added the juice of a half a lime to follow it up. So we're going to pour that in. Seeds are all strained out. We're going to add about 1/4 cup of olive oil. Today I'm using a milder olive oil. I'm using an Arbequina, which we just got in fresh to the store within the past week. So we're really excited about that. And then what we're going to do, we're going to throw in a little bit of garlic. Now I'm going to slightly chop this garlic. You don't have to chop it, you just have to let the blender run a little bit longer. Well, I'm just going to cut this up into some 1/4 inch pieces. Throw that in. You could throw in a second if you wanted. And then I'm going to put in some jalapeno. And I'm just going to cut the tops off. Cut it in half. Cut it up into little 1-inch, 1/2-inch pieces. Drop that in. Now here's the thing about jalapenos right now at this time of year. They haven't had a chance to get spicy. And the way that these jalapenos get spicy is by having some dry weather and some heat. And what's been happening is where the jalapenos have been grown, it's been very, very rainy. And the more moisture, the more water, the less heat. So I'm going to throw in a second jalapeno in this one. When you got those little dried lines on your jalapeno peppers, it's going to indicate that there's going to be a little more heat to it when you got a few of those dry. They kind of look like veins. These are just very pretty green all the way around, and there will be very little heat in these peppers. So I'm going to throw in a second one. If you like the extra heat, feel free to throw in something like this, your habaneros. Maybe not quite the whole thing, but a little bit of it would throw a little extra heat into it if you wanted it that way. The last thing I'm going to put in is some freshly chopped cilantro. Well, I don't have to chop it too much, but I got a bunch of cilantro, and I cut the ends off of it, but I still leave the stems in there because there's tons of flavor in the stems. And I'm just going to cut this up into 1 or 2 inch pieces. I'm going to throw that in the blender. And that's it. So we have some lime juice, garlic, jalapeno, and cilantro. And I'm going to turn on the blender and let her rip. And that's it. That's all there is to it. The marinade is done. And you can use a food processor for this or the blender. Either way, it's about the same. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our chicken. Now, normally, what I really like for preparing chicken like this is boneless, skinless thighs. And for some reason, I bought some breast, and so today I'm going to use breast. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this boneless, skinless breast. I'm going to put it on a piece of plastic wrap. And I'm going to double that over. And then I got my handy dandy meat tenderizing mallet. And I'm going to make this about 3/4 of an inch thick. And the reason I'm doing that is so that everything cooks at about the same rate. If you got thin sides and thick sides, you end up with chicken that's more well done on one end and maybe even dried out than on the other. By making it a uniform thickness, you get a much more even cook on this. And so that's all I've done is I've made it a nice even thickness, about 3/4 of an inch. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my chicken in a large Ziploc bag and then pour in my marinade. It's that simple. So we're going to take the chicken breast, or chicken thighs if you have it. Thighs, I think thighs are a little more flavorful. And that's it. We're just going to pour this in. I'm going to leave it set in my perfect world for about 4 hours. At least 2 and up to overnight is great. But 4 hours is really what I like. All right, next we're gonna start a fire. I've put some charcoal on one side of the grill, and I'm not sure how the video's coming out, but I have 2 baskets. These are actually made for a round kettle type. I just butt these up together, and then on the other side of the grill, it's just empty. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to set the grill on top, and we're only going to have fire on one side. I'm getting ready to light this up. And we're going to let this go for 15 minutes. And in 15 minutes, we'll stick our chicken on there. Okay, so now we're getting ready to put the chicken on the grill. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to let it char over the coals on the hot side, just to get the grill marks on it. And then I'm going to move it over to the cool side. All right, we got one side with the grill marks. We're working on the other side, and here in a moment we'll just put it over to the cool side of the grill and let it go for 20 minutes. All right, now we got our grill marks on all the chicken, and we're just going to put it here on the cool side, and we're going to close the lid, and the thermometer is going to go up to about 500 degrees. And in about 20 minutes, this will all be perfectly cooked and ready to cut up for tacos. All right, we're back. And the chicken's done. It's just beautiful. It smells delicious. I had a little bit of taste of it a minute ago, and there's a little bit of spice to it. The cilantro comes through, the citrus comes through. It's absolutely delicious. And all I've done is I've just went ahead and I've chopped it up pretty choppy, And I've taken corn tortillas. Now, my favorite tortillas to use for these tacos are the ones where they're a little small package and they say street tacos. And they're, oh gee whiz, they're about 4 inches in, they're about 4 inches around. And those are my favorite. Today I had to get slightly larger ones. Tortillas have been kind of hit or miss in the grocery store for finding what you want. So I've taken these tortillas, I fried them up in a little bit of vegetable oil, got them a little crispy, not crunchy, just put a little brown on them. And all we're going to do now is we're going to fill them up. And my favorite way to fill up these tacos is to first put a little bit of the chicken, and after we put in a little chicken, I like to use a pinch of sea salt. I think this just it livens it up just a little bit. Just a little bit of sea salt, perfect. And then I'm kind of a traditionalist when it comes to what I put on my tacos. I try to be a traditionalist. Sometimes I'll add something that's a little bit, well, not Mexican. So onions and cilantro are my two favorite toppings. So I'm going to put a little bit of onion on my taco. A little bit of onions, a little bit of cilantro, and through the magic of video, it was already chopped up for you. You didn't have to sit there and watch me do it. Then some people like sour cream on their, or a crema on their tacos. My favorite thing to use is a full-fat Greek yogurt. I think it stands up a little bit better. I enjoy the flavor just a little bit more. So that's what I'm gonna put. That's my non-traditional topping. I'll put a little bit of that in there. These are just for my wife and I, so I can get my fingers on it, and nobody'll be too upset since we share germs. Last but not least, I'm going to take a little bit of a lime wedge. We had some of those limes that we cut up and juiced for the marinade, and I got a little bit of, I made sure I had one lime left, and I just cut it in half and then cut the 1/2 into 1/8. And then I'll serve this on the plate, and that's it. One other thing that can be really good, this was something I made, we don't sell it in the store, it's just something I'm making at home right now. This is a pineapple habanero relish. I used to make a pineapple habanero hot sauce that we were selling, and we were having some issues with it, and I decided to go from a hot sauce to a relish. And it's beautiful, it's spicy, it's going to be a great topping for chicken tacos. Anyway, that's it. It's some marinated chicken, some onions, cilantro, a little bit of Greek yogurt, and a wedge of lime in a corn tortilla, a soft corn tortilla that I fry up. If you like hard shells or flour tortillas, make them however you like, but this is how we do it here at our house. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll look forward to having you again soon.